NSFW. What misconceptions did you have about sex when you were younger that you find laughable now? My mom is a doctor, so she brought me and my siblings up to be comfortable talking about body parts, so that we would understand what was and wasn't okay for people to do. When she first told us how babies were made, I asked how people were supposed to have sex without seeing each other, since it's not okay to look at other people's private parts. 10-year-old me then went on to literally describe what I now know to be a glory hole to my parents. Your mom must have tried so hard not to laugh at that time. My older brother advised me to use Crisco for lube when having sex for the first time. He said that it was inexpensive, slippery, and would last longer. When the time came, the girl I was dating was horrified. She said, "What do you think I am, a frying pan?" Quote, "You should never use Crisco. It's shortening." You turned her from a frying pan into a drying pan. Maybe he was pansexual. Not me, but a buddy from high school. The group of us all thought we had about the same understanding about the mechanics of sex. Apparently that was not the case. This buddy of ours gets himself into a relationship and he and his girl are about to take it to the next step, the first time they have sex. He apparently stopped midway through with a strange look. When his girlfriend asked him, "What's wrong?" he told her he wasn't sure how he was going to get his balls in there too. I'd pay money to see the look on her face after that. "What's wrong?" Quote, "Well, I can't figure out how I'm gonna fit my balls in there. There simply isn't enough room. And the angle is way off." This man has the balls to ask a girl to have sex. No wonder why they wouldn't fit. I remember at the tail end of high school, a group of us, we were sitting under a tree talking about sex when one guy suddenly declares his hatred for doggy style, ranting about the smell and the poo on his dick and how it didn't feel good for him and his girlfriend, but everyone seems to love it. Everything just went silent and we all started looking at each other. Then this one guy pipes up and says, You know you can put it in her vagina from behind, right?" Quote. I'll never forget the sudden look of realization that appeared on his face when he heard that, and then proceeded to pretend like he was just testing us. Now that is a story for the history books. That the person I married would only have sex with me. Ha ha ha. Ouch. I thought if you thrust your hips really fast, you'd be like a human vibrator that women couldn't resist. Ah, the old jackhammer. I had a guy do this the day after I told him I used a vibrator. He was truly trying to compete. He started off jackhammering, but then he slammed himself into me and started to vibrate his whole body. It was the stupidest thing ever. I couldn't help but burst out laughing, which he didn't even notice because he was concentrating so hard on becoming a human vibrator. It was like he was having seizure. He was bad at sex in general, but this was the icing on the cake. Good guy though. I thought two people laid on their sides facing each other while covered with blankets. That was it. That was sex. I think you played too much Sims. I think your Sims game isn't modded enough. I thought during sex the guy WLDP into the girl's vagina, which was where I thought women peed from, and the pee that entered the girl WLDB peed back into the guy's dick, and that cycle WLD continue until both of us fell asleep. This is easily one of the weirdest ones I ever read. I genuinely 100% thought that some men had hollow penises and that's how gay sex worked. Edit. I mean the back. I thought some of them things was stackable. Edit. Guys, I'm gay. I know about docking. That's called docking. When I was 11, all of my friends and I thought that you could never get a girl pregnant if the condom was black. We thought the sperm would get lost or too confused to find an egg in the dark. This caught me off guard. Ha 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 ha. Always thought the vaginal opening was roughly where the penis would be on a guy. Kinda surprised at how far back I had to go when I first found out. Lol. I had opposite idea. I thought penis goes straight down between men's legs and was shocked when I saw the truth for the first time. Can you imagine the chafing? I thought the same. My poor first girlfriend suffered through me rubbing her fupa and asking her if it felt good. I started sexual education around age 8, and at the end of every session we were given paper to write down questions we wanted answered. I remember asking this question as my first ever question. It was brushed off by the teacher, who gave an answer that left me even more confused and went unanswered for me until I was much older. I asked, in much less eloquent words, when a woman has ejaculate inside of her, there is a lot of sperm that aren't successful. What happens to that? Quote, I had seen the anatomy. I knew the cervix had to be breached. We were shown silhouette-style graphics of knob to cervix transfer of semen. So I figured lots made it through. I didn't think you would keep every load you received between periods up there. But what happened to it? Turns out sex is really messy. Took very little searching online to scar the immediate loss of my naive innocence into my memory forever. What the fuck? My 8-year-old still believes in Santa. Technically Santa is real, he's just been dead for the past 1,700 years or so. Okay, I'm a teen and I do not know the answer. Can you tell me? Edit. I may just not understand the question at all. Edit 2. Thanks for all the answers. Lol. It just leaks back out of the woman. Sometimes immediately. Sometimes a few minutes later. What the movies don't show you is the unceremonious trip to the bathroom most women take pretty shortly after the sex is over. Otherwise, the jizz would just end up on the sheets pretty quickly. And no one wants that. Lol. Also, friendly reminder to all women to pee after sex. The bladder infections suck. Just to be clear though, peeing doesn't get rid of the semen in your vagina. Blow job equals blow literally on the guy's pee-pee. I wanted to say that didn't have any misconceptions, but you reminded me. It doesn't help that blow job literally just means to blow in my language. I thought that the penis was simply placed in the vagina. No thrusting. And after a while fertilization just occurred kinda magically. I think there was a rumor that Louis XIV and Marie Antoinette might have been a different French king. Used that method. It was only after several years without producing heirs that someone explained it to the monsieur. Close one. It's Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. I also heard of that, and I personally think it's only a rumor, since giving heirs to the kingdom was at the absolute top of the priorities at the time, and people would have explained it to them so that they wouldn't screw it up. I'm not sure about Louis XVI, but there are testimonies about his great-great-grandfather Louis XIV having his first intercourse around 14 with the Baronne de Beauvais, 40 years old and rumored to be one-eyed, under the order of the Queen Mother, Anne of Austria. For that very reason, although, even if we're pretty sure that Louis and Marie Antoinette knew what they were doing, their first child was born after 8 years of marriage. So, how to explain this? Well, there are reports of the king having a severe case of phimosis that made sex or even erections painful. They waited as much as possible to operate the king, since there was always the risk of him dying in the process, but they eventually did, and 4 princes and princesses were born in the following years. I write all of this only through memory, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Edit. I'm an idiot, so I wrote Louis XVI instead of Louis XIV. Yes, but they also didn't actually consummate their marriage or have sex for about 7-ish years after they were married, so that might have affected things a bit. The roles of the various orifices on the female body changed pretty much with the weather. Everything from they give birth out the butt and pee out the vagina, to the reverse, and at one point over to thinking they do everything out the same opening. I also legit thought that if you wanted to have a baby during sex, one of your balls would come out of your dick and into her stomach, meaning you pretty much only had 2 goes at it. My friend told me he had the same idea with the balls, and he has 5 siblings. He's not very good at math. The ball grows back after the baby's born, duh. For example, I used to think oral sex was the same thing as phone sex in middle school. I also used to think masturbation could get you pregnant as a child. Gotta love growing up in the South, where abstinence is the best form of sexual education they can offer. Once in college I had an ex-boyfriend that thought the vagina absorbed cum like a sponge. Now that I think about it, that should have been the moment we broke up. Lol. When I was young until about 12, I always thought sex was two people kissing each other naked. I thought men's nipples were just like women's nipples. I was so shocked when I realized you guys can't attach them, monsieur. Excuse me, what? Wait, what detach? We have to wash them once in a while. I lost one of mine back in high school in the showers. I suspect one of the jock kids took it as a prank. I mean, I was a pretty nice nipple. I don't blame hi monsieur. Luckily I was able to get a decent enough replacement from Amazon. Even lights up and everything. That I would immediately cum once a girl's tongue touched my dick. Yeah, I'm in this post and I don't like it. I am 18-year-old virgin and I feel that could very well happen. That I would have any. When I first found out that a penis goes into a woman's vagina when I was about 9, I thought a guy just flapped his flaccid penis all over the woman's vagina until she'd had enough. Until I was about 12 and I discovered guys get boners and that I had an actually hole up there and I was like, oh, so that's where the penis goes then. Makes sense. Flap his flaccid penis around until she'd had enough. Sometimes it'll be like that. That sperms are separate people, like with hands and feet, and they can walk obviously. So, yeah, they get out of men bottoms. Not aware of anatomy completely, but bottoms okay. And then they work hard, climb heights and swim oceans to go to the women's bottoms. Because they are small in size, even a 10-centimeter height is a mountain height for the monsieur. And all the while they have to be safe. Because what if they get crushed under the bodies of these people while sleeping? And all this had to be done while people sleep. So, it was a tough, hard journey for the sperms to meet eggs and women bottoms, and then baby is born. Up until age 19 or so, I legitimately thought women were physically incapable of enjoying sex, and only did it to either manipulate their partner or keep from getting beaten. I know better now, but high school was not fun. Sounds like your parents had a relationship for sure. WTF. That's really sad. My mom's grandmother told her when she was young that if she ever wanted to have children she would have to just lay down and let your husband do his dirty business. She was clearly someone who never got to enjoy sex. Hey, legitimate question and kinda awkward to ask, but does a condom prevent a guy from ejaculating or just contain it? It's a good question. A condom just contains it? Oh cool, thanks. But does that mean it's possible for some to leak out into the vagina? If the condom breaks, then yes. Mad respect for genuinely answering the question. Oh, thank you for answering my question, smiley face. Good luck, young stallion. I thought shagging meant rubbing your bums together. Shagadelic baby. When I was younger, just a bit before puberty, I would have sex dreams inevitably, and having never gotten a close-up of a vagina, would dream that a vagina was just this generic hole. That's all it was. A nondescript hole. My imagination just couldn't put together the hole picture. I never knew that there was a separate female organ. I thought it was just a penis. So when giving birth, penis just expands and boom, you just peed a baby. I don't think I ever had any actual misconceptions, as I learned from a very early age exactly what happens. But I did have a hard time understanding how both urine and sperm can come out of urethra without any knowledge of the internal anatomy of that area. It's just weird that the same hole tube has two different purposes. I couldn't fathom how two different inputs could connect to the same output, so to speak. I mean, your mouth does the same with air, food and water. When I was young I was jealous that my sister's butt crack went all the way to the front. I wanted to know if boys could have periods. Never asked anyone. Also, I thought during the act, the man stuffs his soft penis inside the woman and they lie still. The man on top of the woman, awaiting ejaculation like a data transfer before disconnecting from each other. All very still and silent. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.